All right, we're live. What's going on, guys? Another chopping it up session. Moff's back from his long hike, and gonna catch up on what's been going on this week, man. How you doing, brother?
Good. Yeah. All back home, safe and sound. Survived the Grand Canyon, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, fill us in. The Grand Canyon hike. So, whose wise idea was it to hike in the desert in the summertime?
Yeah. So there was a couple of guys. So we had, I think, 8 of us in total, all from the 1%, so the community. We had 3 guys that did it last year. One guy is based in Phoenix, and then the other 2 that joined him were based in Salt Lake. So they got together and did it. And then they just threw up a flag and said, "Hey, should we do it again this year? There's going to be any other takers? Should we try to do it again?" And I'm not a hiker, and I'm not much of a guy who's a fan of doing stuff like that. And I was like, this sounds like it's going to be hell and sounds like it's going to be really hard and really difficult. And I was like, that's why I'm going to do it. So, this year has been a really transformational for me as far as doing things that are difficult, putting myself into situations. And that's kind of a rule that I've tried to institute for myself and a lot of the guys, that I manage in the 10%, where it's like, if you're saying you don't want to do something, that's a clear sign that you should, and you should go after it and you should try to do it. So, so the trip, was announced a couple months back. I would say probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 months back. And we had one guy drop out because he had some family issues he had to take care of. But 8 of us, we did. The original plan was to do rim to rim to rim, which is the entire canyon, and then back again. And
that's 48 miles, though, right?
That's about 42 and some change, 43 miles. Okay. Rim to rim is what we ended up doing. And, and I'm going to do some more of this on my show and some takeaways, and I'll probably write some sort of, top 10 takeaways or something like that. But one of the things I kept finding myself say is like, there's a fine line between difficult and stupid, right? So what we did was extremely difficult and tough. And the rim to rim to rim would have been incredibly stupid for us to try to pull that off. So it is, not slouching around. Eventually, it basically was 20, all said and done, it was, I think, 24 or 25 miles, including the 1.5 miles that we had to hoof it to the lodge because we got out too late and the shuttles weren't running anymore. So we did the canyon, and then we walked 2 more miles in the dark and pitch black. Everybody had their headlamps on. But, got some great footage from it, got a lot of great video. I'm going to put something together that's a little more long form, and that should be out soon. But it was an insane experience. Most people go to the Grand Canyon and they take pictures from the top, and they just, can take pictures from the lookouts, but only a very, very small percentage. I think that, I don't know where they got the data from this, but somebody mentioned on the trip that out of every, 100 visitors that goes to the canyon, only 2 people will hike it. So and then if you talk about people that are doing rim to rim, you're in very, very small company. So it was really, really cool.
What's the elevation change from rim to rim?
I think it was, they would know better than me. I think it was down 6,000 and up 8, or it might have been down 8, up 6. It depends on what side you start. So I think that we went south rim to north rim, and south rim, I believe, is actually higher. This is, somebody can Google check and fact check this, but I believe south rim is higher. But still, Chris says 4,000 feet down, 6,000 feet up, and all of it's hard. There's no easy part of this. It's hard for different reasons. We did get lucky with the heat. I think probably only 95-ish, which sounds hot, but in Arizona, not so much. I take 110 in Arizona over 95 or 100 in Florida any day because of humidity. So we got lucky with that. But there's the first 7 miles, the first third is downhill, and you think that sounds easy, but really it's tough on your joints, especially your knees, because there's really no way to brace yourself. And the steps and the way the trail is designed, it's designed for mules, it's not designed for humans. So they're not stairs like you would have in an office building or your apartment complex. They're, 3-4 feet. So you have to take big, long leaps, or you have to stutter step, then take another step down. It's something.
I got a clip here that I got from 50 earlier today. I'm trying to open it up on my desktop signal, but of course it's not loading. I have to update to open it up again. So I'll try that. Maybe I can show it in a minute. But you guys ended up in 3 groups, right? Like the fast group got there 3 hours before the slower group.
So yeah, we started off as one group, and then after the first, I think about 6 hours or so, or after the first, I think we made it down in about 3.5, 4 hours. And then after our first big break, after we made it to sort of the bottom of the canyon, or the valley is what you would say, or, for the layman, it became pretty clear that people had different levels, and there was no way we're going to be able to stay together the entire time for the whole thing. And that's when it also became clear that we were not going to be able to hike back. It was going to be rim to rim, and we were going to be done. So there's a lodge at the North Rim, and after 8 o'clock, everything shuts down. There's no food. You can't get rooms. You can't get shuttle transportation. So the more experienced guys, hoofed it all up ahead. I stayed back with the other group, making sure everybody was kind of, I wasn't definitely not the fastest, definitely not the slowest. I was probably in the middle between the fast group and the slower group. But so they went on ahead, and then the guy that put it together broke from the fast group, and he got up there ahead of everybody else. So he was an absolute killer and a rock star. But he's out there all the time, and to his credit, man, he's 59, 60 years old. So he's not a 25-year-old dude that's been doing this. Like, he's not an athlete, like, in that way, like super climber, but he trained his ass off, and he was out there at, Camelback Mountain once a week or something like that, or once every couple of days. And this is not something that you can just get up off the couch and go do. You're going to have a terrible time if that's what you're thinking this is going to be.
Yeah, walking up inclines isn't as easy as walking on a flat surface, obviously. And
the elevation gets you too.
Yeah, because you're losing oxygen, as you go higher. I probably mentioned this before, but I used to have this guy in a entrepreneurs forum that summited the 7 continental peaks, and he used to be an accountant, and a hurricane smashed through the Cayman Islands, and he ended up leaving that job, and he figured a good use of his time would be climbing mountains. So he just started walking up mountains. And we asked him on this retreat, because we were at Blue Mountain, actually the same one that Amy in the chat had a hard time climbing up. And at that base, I just said to him, I go, so what's the best way to ascend the mountain? He just looked at me and goes, you just put one foot in front of the other and you just start moving in that direction. But all the like exercise and the training and the joint preparation and the way that you sort of move is all this stuff that like makes it all come together. So kudos to you guys for doing that. I know I razzed 50 quite a bit, but as we do,
rightfully so.
Yeah, as we do,
rightfully so. He earned it. He deserved it.
Yeah, he earned it.
He didn't quit, though, man. Like he didn't quit. That's the thing too. I mean, like we went at a certain pace and everybody got out. I mean, the biggest thing for me, like the cardio wise, I was fine. I mean, I do 2 hours plus most days on the treadmill when I'm not doing my fighting training. And then you've done that stuff. It's a completely different kind of cardio, like fighting and wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's completely different. So 145, 150 beats a minute, like no problem. I live there. No big deal. But it was the joints, and it was the sports specific stuff. It's the impact on your joints, the actual climbing. I got a blister on the back of my heel, and the chafing starts to set in and things like that. So it's absolutely something you can't replicate it on a treadmill. You can't replicate it on hills. Like, you absolutely need to be hiking if you're going to try to hike, and, vice versa. If it's, whether it's hiking or whether it's like a Tough Mudder, which we're doing in October, like you better be doing as close to that as you could possibly get.
So here's a quick visual of the hike that you guys did. So I'll just play this for you guys so you can see it.
Ever dreamed of conquering the Grand Canyon? This is your ultimate guide to the rim-to-rim hike. Let's dive into the iconic Grand Canyon rim-to-rim hike. stretching 24 miles from the Bright Angel Trailhead to the North Kaibab Trailhead. It's a trek that's tough but so rewarding. To catch a glimpse of this wild adventure, check out Live Hard, Love Hard. Their rim-to-rim run is nothing short of breathtaking. Average completion time, 12 to 15 hours. Best season, May 15 to October 15, when North Rim facilities are open. And don't forget, this journey needs planning. It's a one-way hike, so arrange your transport back. Difficulty level, extremely challenging. Less than 1% of the park's visitors take this on.
There you
The
go,
elevation
1%
gain
of
is
the
no
park's
joke,
visitors.
varying from 4,400 to 5,181 feet depending on your trail. You're trekking through 2 billion years of Earth's history. Gear up right. Sneakers, hydration system, first aid kit, and snacks. Remember, it's about the journey, not just the destination. It's crucial to hike responsibly and know your limits. And remember, if you complete this epic hike, you've earned your spot in the Rim to Rim Club. Share your story, inspire others, and wear your accomplishment proudly. Be ready for temperature swings and breathtaking views. And most importantly, enjoy every moment as you join the elite few who've witnessed the Grand Canyon in all its glory.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot more than what it looks like, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. This is like, I love this guy, but yeah, dude, 24 miles ain't flat ground, just like on the treadmill, right? This is no joke, especially when you get to the upward portion and you have the switchbacks and it's just you're climbing straight up. I mean, the elevation gain in such a short amount of time is absolutely huge. So, yeah, I mean, one step at a time. That's the thing that I kept telling these guys, or I kept even saying in my head. I was just like, look, don't even think, just walk. That's what it really boiled down to. And, I think it's a testament to the human body for sure. Like, I mean, I'm still got a little bit of soreness, but a couple of days later, I was back in the gym today. And, we were walking around the day after. It's not like anybody was bedridden or anything like that. So it's just so important for guys to realize that your mind quits so much earlier and so much faster than your body will.
Yeah.
You're capable of amazing things if you just don't quit. So, but at the same time, know your limits. Like I said, there's a difference between hard and stupid. There's a reason that I'm not going to run outside and try to go for a 100-mile, jog. There are limits, but too many guys self-impose limits that they can easily accomplish just because they're scared. So the only way you're really going to know what those limits are is if you test yourself, and that's what we did.
Yeah, and you've been testing yourself. You mentioned this earlier, but you did Algonquin, which was a first for you. That was tough. There was your San Diego meetup with all that work you did with the Navy SEALs, and you've of course got Tough Mudder coming up next month, guys. This is what we do with the men in our community. Moff is especially fastidious about this lately, is testing guys and putting them through the ringer in such a way that you see what you're made of. A lot of guys, communities and groups out there, it's all about chasing tail and let me show you pickup and how to approach girls and shit like that. And it's like, that's not what we do, man. It's like, that's easy. Once you get yourself squared away and you're a proper guy, it's like, we want to see what you're made of. We want to test you to see what you're made of. Because, if the shit hits a fan, we want to know that, we got you and you got us. So if that's something that's of interest to you, the links are always in the description. They're on my website. You're looking for a band of brothers, a tribe to join, take a look. What else has been going on, man, since we're chopping it up today?
Actually, on that note, so this is how no joke this stuff is. So there was a big flash flood in the canyon through the weekend. There was a lot of we pulled up there. We thought there was gonna be a lot of rain. There was a lot of rain. We were worried about flash flooding, and they actually found a hiker, pulled her out of the canyon on Sunday. She had passed away. So hundreds of hikers I think had to get airlifted out or had to get sort of rescued. But it can turn just like that, man. And it's just we were very lucky. We missed it by about a day, but could have easily been any one of us. So again, it's just find that line between tough and stupid, but it's unfortunate that kind of stuff happens, but Mother Nature certainly does not care. It does not pull any punches. So that's, for anybody that thinks this is just a walk in the park and that's frolicking, It absolutely is not. So, but yeah, I haven't had my ear much to the ground over the last couple of days. Obviously, I was out in the desert and had no phone for 30 plus hours. And there's definitely some things I would have done different, but it was great. I've been seeing some things around. I know there was some things going on, and I'm not as well versed in this. Maybe we skip over it, but there was some things everybody's talking about. The CEO of Telegram,
Pavel.
Pavel's getting jammed up, or he was arrested at this point.
Yeah, apparently the French government arrested him on arrival. Some people are speculating that the girl that he was with had placed him in their hands. It's been said that if they want to get you, the way that they usually get at you is with an attractive girl.
It's women.
So I don't know if that's true, but that's some of the speculation that's gone out there. But they've been after him because of government demands on how Telegram's being used, and he's not obliging them. And good for him. I don't know what to say, man. Like, we live in this weird Twilight sort of Black Mirror 1984 combination sort of zone. You guys have seen what's been going on in the UK lately. You can't make a social media post on Facebook, even privately, without the authorities come in your house if it goes against immigration policies. If they're telling Pavel to modify or censor parts of the Telegram app or provide information to the government, and he's not obliging, it's going to land you in trouble. There's really no safe place, man. Like, there are certain countries without extradition laws that you can sort of go to in areas like that. Like, I know the some of the great train robberies they did back in the days, decades ago. I think there was one in the UK where they all ended up, or most of them ended up, in Brazil, and they were never extradited because there's no extradition charges. And I think a couple of guys just stayed there and had families, and they just sat on the cash. But there's very few countries today where you can do as you please. They will find a way to reach out and grab you. The Tates have been in and out with Dicot, over one thing or another. And I think what they've done, in that scenario, is they've given them enough rope, hoping that they would hang themselves. And they're trying to collect as much. I mean, you give Andrew a microphone and a camera, and he'll talk.
Right.
So we'll see what comes of that lawsuit. When the dust settles. But
what are the new charges or the new evidence they're saying is brought to light in their case?
There was some stuff that I saw earlier on social media on Twitter X, that basically summarized it. Let me see if I can pull it up. Since you're asking, it was where's the Twitter post? Here it is. So it's a summary of all the case stuff. I'll put this up on the screen since it came up with the Pavel stuff. This is a X account called Agent Addervid. It says the public cases the Tate brothers are currently facing. Summary of total across all cases, alleged victims in criminal and civil 49. Andrew and Tristan Tate criminal cases, total alleged victims 45. Human trafficking 45 alleged victims, one minor age 17. Grape, at least 2 alleged victims. SA with 1 alleged victim. The minor, 1 alleged victim. 15 instigated assault, 1 alleged victim. Civil case, total alleged. Like, they've got it all broken down over here. So it seems like Britain as well has a case against them. Grapes, SA, human trafficking. I think there's one, here it is, U.S. Federal Criminal Investigation. It's not public. People are currently being interviewed. There's a tax evasion civil case, verdict due in September. This is brought by the police. He's been public about not paying taxes, so I don't know how he's going to get out of that one. But there's a lot of stuff that they're throwing at him, and this is what they typically do in situations like this: is they throw as much as they can at you, and whatever sticks.
Yeah, and at this point in the court of public opinion, he's guilty. Like, I mean, you don't have to be a brainiac to see that. You know, once you get slapped with a certain charge or a certain amount of charges, your reputation is pretty much nuked forever. So, yeah, I mean, you know the guy better than I do, and I don't know when the last time you guys spoke. I mean, I know you had him on the show a couple of years back, probably before, you know, things went. He absolutely blew up.
It's been a year since he's responded to me. I talked to Tristan about 6 months ago, but he's busy doing his thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like guys like Pavel, guys like the Tates, if you don't give them what they want and do what they tell you to do, so you could speak out about it, but I don't think that's a winning strategy from what we've seen.
Yeah, it's so funny about, you know, and guess what I heard, and to your point about Pavel's girl, you know, dropping locations, or whether it was on Instagram or some geolocation that made it extremely easy to track. There was a rapper in LA that got killed. They got pulled up on and killed a couple of years ago because the girl he was with dropped an Instagram story and tagged the location where they were, and people just like, oh, I guess we know he's there right now, so it's time to go get him, and they shot and killed him. So yeah. It's you know,
one of the things that we were talking about when we did this Croatia trip with the other entrepreneurs was management, security, you know, reputation management. It's like, you know, I've talked about this before, and it's like, if you're using social media, don't post anything until you've left the area. Right? If you're going to post a photograph, a video, like just get in the habit of it, right? Like, why do you want to tell people where you're at all the time while you're sitting there, right? Like, take the photograph, post it, you know, after you've left the area, you know, if that's something that you want.
Why does it need to be in, you know, real time?
Yeah.
You know, they don't know either way, you know, they're none the wiser.
And if you're traveling with people, if you're traveling with a chick, you got to make it real clear, right? Like, you know, you can't be doing certain things, and you have to monitor their behavior. It is what it is. You know, this is the world that we live in. Like, I was talking to my dad the other day because, you know, we're talking about England and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I don't think I can go back anytime soon. He's like, well, why not? I said, I've said some shit on social media.
Said too much.
I don't know. I mean, they could go back 2 or 3 years. I mean, I said some stuff on social media criticizing their policies. That could land me in jail the next time I travel there. Right. So, like, you know, you just don't know with stuff like this. I'm not a huge target, but you know, there's bigger targets out there, and I've seen what they do to guys like that. So you have to manage yourself, make an example, manage your reputation, right? I mean, you know, conversations that we have publicly on, you know, the internet streaming are always going to be different from the ones that we're sitting down at dinner, you know, with the boys, you know, having a deeper talk about some other stuff. So that's where the interesting combos happen. But yeah. So we got that Pavel thing. So what else has been going on, man? Like, what else we got to chop up? Let me see what we got here. It's I always like to check out their trending items here. I got some bookmarks too that I can pull up as well too.
Yeah.
You know, happen throughout the week, which are always interesting to break down. Okay, so here's one. This is a photograph that I took the other day. I can share it. I'm not there anymore. So in the opening part of my book, so this is a little bit of a lesson for you guys too, right? So the opening part of my book, The Unplugged Alpha, the second edition, you know, I talk about the female first primary social order and how the world is built around that narrative, making women more so that they can become more, and men have to become less so that they can facilitate that reality. This is just a brewery. And it said on the sign, please, no assholes, no racists, no misogynists, no homophobes. Now, there's 2 on here that are directed specifically towards men, generally misogynists and assholes. They never call women assholes. They'll call them something else, but men are called assholes often, or they'll call men a misogynist. So this thing here is towing the line exactly like I talk about in the chapter in my book about the female first primary social order. There's no mention here about no misandry, right? Misandry is the opposite of misogyny, but you'll never see a sign that says, hey, welcome to the brewery. No bitches, no misandrists or racists or homophobes, right? This is just the sort of thing that you have to understand, you know, exists in, you know, the world.
Well, just the language itself, if you bring it up one more time real quick, just the language they're using, it's so feminized. It's so, you know, not like no a-holes with this and that. The whole just be nice thing is almost this, you'll see it on Twitter now to the point where it's become a meme where you put it in quotes like, just be, have you tried being just a decent person? Have you just tried not being an effing asshole? Have you tried just being a decent human being? And it's just, these people will dumb it down. It's like, they'll use that as a veil to say, if you don't talk like I want you to talk, say the things I want you to say, act in the way that I want you to act, you're not nice, or you're not a good person, or you're human scum. And these are just buzzwords, right? They don't mean anything. Like, okay, what's your definition of an asshole? What's your definition of a misogynist? If I say XYZ about women, am I a misogynist? Am I an asshole? Like what exactly is it? It's just, it's comical. The way that they do this. And even one of the things, as I was killing time on the plane the other day, I have not got to a point yet where I'm gonna get this super in a second, but I haven't got to the point now. Like, we use all these platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on X, we use school for our communities, and you stream to it. Like, but you don't use LinkedIn as a real social platform. No. But I was just kind of scouring, and I was curious, and this is something we can talk more about offline if that's maybe a frontier we could look into. But just even searching for the keyword of masculinity.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I was like, you know what? I was wondering if there's any groups out there or any people out there that are talking about this kind of stuff and that are posting unapologetically, knowing they're not going to get any engagement. Because I honestly think it'd be really easy to go viral in a place like LinkedIn. Also, maybe get kicked off really fast. But it's every single post or every single time I see the term masculinity framed, it's all about the new definition. It's all about changing or adopting to this new idea of masculinity. And it's absolutely trying to control and police language and wash things away. And it's in my head, it's like, how arrogant do you have to be to look around you and arguably, and I know people will give me shit on this, so I'll preface it with this. As far as a pure survival mechanism, as far as ease of survival and ease of survivability of the world and of you as a human being, there's never been a better time to be alive than right now if you're part of the human species, part of the human race. It's never been easier. You can literally go on your phone, and anything you could ever need to survive will come right to your door, right? So you don't have to go hunt and find your food. You don't have to forage or scavenge. You can literally have the guy come to your house 3 times a day. And I mean, look at my 600-pound life people. They're fine. They're not fine, but they'll, whatever. So, but to sit here and say that, go ahead.
Do you want me to put up some of these ones that you saved the other day?
Sure. I don't have them saved, but I mean, you could easily do like a quick keyword. If you go to LinkedIn and just type in masculinity. Yeah.
I got it for you.
Let's see what we got here.
Screen present so you guys can see what we're talking about. Window, and where is Dan?
But while you bring that up, I'll finish the point. Just this idea that traditional, I get it, and the fact that we even have to say traditional masculinity now, because masculinity is just masculinity. But this idea that everything that every man has ever done and has created, and everything that your people and your ancestors have done before you to get you to this point, how arrogant are you to say, we could have done it better? There's a better, these guys.
That one.
And that's just one of them.
Wants to sign
and
up
that's
for
like
this,
the most popular group.
Follow it. Yeah.
And that's like the most popular group. And you know what?
And look at the background.
There was
right?
I mean, what are we doing here? There's another popular global or worldwide men's community. I'm not going to drop the name because I don't want to give them any free press or free advertising, but they're huge, like 75,000 members. They're doing these workshop and weekend meetups all the time, very similar to what we're doing. But I look at the guys that are giving testimonials and it's like, I would never have that guy in my group. They're fat or they're soy looking or they're dorks. And then I go to the FAQ page and they talk about, well, who's allowed to come? And it's like, are women allowed? No, this is for men. How about trans men? Yes, they're allowed. And that's when I just stopped reading and I was just like, you people are an absolute joke of an organization. And it's like, you must be on testosterone for a year, this and that. But so this idea that masculinity needs to be redefined to fit this female narrative. It's insane to me. You might be able to bring this up too, but Jack Donovan dropped a really good reel today on his Instagram about the term brotherhood and kind of what that means, because that's something that we really bang on and really harp on. And I thought it was, let me see if I can grab it really quick.
While you're doing that, I just want to make mention of one thing. So I'm going to throw us back up on the screen. This is actually more common today than I've ever seen before. Like, this isn't the first time I've seen something like this. It's not everywhere, but it's happening enough now that I'm starting to take a lot more note of it, and I'm starting to photograph it. You know where I've never seen anything like this? You know where I saw none of this? Croatia, Italy. They don't do shit like that over there. Like stuff like this does not fly. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. Let me bring this up. I should be able to share audio. Usually I've had issues with audio, but say something if this doesn't come through.
Fire away, play it.
Hold on.
There you go.
Brotherhood is a powerful word for men because it invokes something that men instinctively want. But there is also a dark side to brotherhood. I'll explain. Men want to be accepted and respected by a group of men that they respect in return. This gives men a sense of security and a sense of identity. They know that they have value as men because they have earned their place in a group of men. Why is that important to men? Well, it's important to men because for most of human evolutionary history, men hunted and fought in cooperative groups. Lone wolves don't survive very long. Men hunted and fought in teams, groups of men who relied on each other in stressful situations. And not having that makes most men nervous. It makes them feel alone and unproven and vulnerable. Men who have never had that often become very insecure, and they depend on women or jobs or material status symbols to prove that they have value as men. So men consciously or unconsciously want this thing that we call brotherhood. And then they join men's groups and criminal gangs and even the military in part because they are looking for that thing. And this is where we get to the dark side of brotherhood. Now, there are good men who know that men are looking for brotherhood, and they try to provide a medium for that to happen in a positive way. But there are also bad actors, men who know that men are looking for brotherhood. So they use the word brotherhood to manipulate men and sell them things, and to lure men into something that looks like brotherhood, but in truth is more of a one-sided relationship in which they take advantage of the men and exploit them in some way. So how does someone become your brother? What do you owe a brother? Can you take an oath and just become a brother to a stranger? Can you pay money to become part of a brotherhood? How do you feel when someone you barely know calls you a brother? And that brings me back to my original question. What does brotherhood mean to you? Let me know in the comments.
So I thought that was really interesting.
It's kind of bizarre that only got 129 likes.
He only dropped it today.
Yeah.
It's huge, but I mean, it's only recent, but I mean, yeah, it really speaks to, what we're doing. And, there are certain, because he dropped this question on X the other day and I responded to it, but, I don't use the term brother for everybody out there. I use it for a very small select group of guys or guys that are in the community that I've met and I've shared meals with and I've shared hard things with and that sort of thing. And to your point, I think he's really aptly describing what we're trying to achieve. It's not just, hey, you guys got to pay money and then you're automatically in our group. When I onboard new members, when I talk to guys, it's like, look, you're expected to show up. You're expected to put yourself in the ring. I mean, I had a conversation with a guy today and I just was like straight up like, yeah, dude, you're not ready because, you're not going to be able to come to the meetups. You're not going to be able to meet in person. Sure, you'll get some value behind your screen or phone, but, there's no use for guys in our community that are just going to sit on the sidelines and pretend that they're part of something without even putting any additional or some real skin in the game. So, I loved what he's got to say. And I think part of what he said towards the end about the dark side, that comes up a lot. I think I catch a lot of heat for it because that's what people see. They're like, oh, you're bringing guys to take advantage of it. And I'm like, look at what we've done. Talk to the guys in the community, like listen to the reviews and listen to the testimonials and how it's changed guys' lives and where they'd be without it. So let me get these supers really quick.
Yeah. Throw them up.
Andy goes, catching up to speed, how much water did you use on the trail? I brought a 3-liter pack for my backpack. Should be enough. No, dude, absolutely not. 3 liters, you'll go through that so fast. You should probably carry at least, you should have, if you're trying to do this hike, you should have the capacity to carry probably 6, and you should fill up at every station. So, I mean, there was a point where I never had less than 4 or so liters of water, so a gallon, or like 4 quarts of water, so a gallon of water on me at any given time. There was, when I left the first fill up station, Phantom Ranch, I had 2 gallons on me. So you can never have enough water. It's important that you have electrolyte or hydration packs of some kind as well. The electrolyte powders, whatever that might be. I wouldn't recommend mixing the electrolyte powders in your actual reservoir because it can get into the straw and it'll accumulate and it'll harden. But no, a 3-liter pack, and that's all you have capacity for, is half as much as you should have. And there was one more here. I get the worst service from feminist waitresses. Yeah, well, no surprise there. And then Jake says really quick, I burned through 5 liters in the middle third of the trail. So yeah, you'll go through so much water, dude. It's unbelievable. I mean, I probably drank 2+ gallons on the day, and I was still thirsty.
Do you remember that clip I did in the last month and a half, 2 months? This guy, Ari Mustache, I can't remember his full name on Twitter. He was talking about women barely being sentient.
Yeah, of course.
Because they vote liberal and all that sort of stuff, and they like socialism.
Yeah, love it.
I came across this here. Let me just put it up. But it's this new trend.
Oh no!
The social media craze of women filing their teeth down with a nail file because they're not perfect. It's like that whole like herd mentality, right? Like if you see this challenge or certain women doing certain things, they just hop on the bandwagon. Let's just make a video about filing down our teeth and making them perfectly straight, right? Using a nail file. So, I mean,
I don't know how
the money.
I don't know how anybody can argue at this point that women are herd animals, that they are incredibly driven by trends. I mean, every month there's something, and like there's jokes about it, how they all dress the same, like there was Stanley Cups.
Never find another girl like me.
There's Stanley Cups, or like there's something. Yeah, of course. I mean, or whatever it is, the new thing now. There's this thing going around where women are calling something like this word demure, DEMURE, is everywhere, and it's just every TikTok that you see or every Instagram reel, and now it's this new thing. So I mean, it's just like, look no further than right in front of you when next time you're like, oh, we're all individuals and everybody is different. Like on one hand, everybody like, oh, we're all so different, but then if you just look and everybody's on the same bandwagon, everybody's on, it's mostly women that are doing this, but you can't look at this and convince me that there's not a hive mind. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It's absolutely.
You have to kind of look at it. You have to I think the tough part for most guys out there is that you generally have to think of women in one of 2 ways. You have to think of them as barely sentient creatures or children, which makes it easier sometimes to maintain relationships because everything they do is just, it's cute and it's adorable and they don't know any better and it's just this and that.
You just come along and pop them on those and go, pop.
Yeah, like, oh, like you're so cute. Or you think they're these sentient creatures or whatever it is. And each one of those has a conflicting side of the coin. If you think women are basically children, then it has to drive you insane that they have the right to vote, or that they get the same power in boardrooms, or they get to assert themselves and they get a say for the way this country is run, because you're basically saying like, well, we've got children at the voting booths now. So that's the area of conflict. Yeah, right. And then it's like, maybe you do take them seriously and you're like, no, women are functional adults and they have their own agency and this and that. But then you turn around and say, well, then how in the hell can they act this way by the literal millions and jump on every single bandwagon or every single popular thing? And they're irreconcilable. So, I wonder where most guys fall. But there's no way that something that women do doesn't irk you just a little bit, regardless of how you think about it.
So back to the point that I made earlier about the female first primary social order and how women are always protected and preserved and men are disposable. I want to share another video clip which is very relevant to that. I've also got some other stuff too. I was at a half mile event on the weekend, so I want to show you what this Turbo West does at the end of the half mile, because it was a lot of fun. Moff was climbing and hiking, and I was sick as a dog in my car doing donuts, ripping down an airstrip. But I'll show you that in a minute. But there's this crazy clip here that went viral, and the caption here says, "Husband provides proof that the child is not his during the baby shower in front of everyone, including the man she cheated with." So if you're younger or you're not familiar with what a baby shower is, it's a little party that women usually put together for other women. Sometimes they do it like stag with men and women sort of involved in the party, but most of the time here in North America, it's usually just the girls getting together and they do gifts and, you know, they have a little party and stuff like that. But this one here, this husband decided to use this as an opportunity to prove that the baby wasn't his in front of everybody's. The point here and why I'm showing this is I want you to see how everybody reacts. It's in Spanish, so I'll play it for those of you that speak Spanish. I don't know what they're saying, but I want you to watch how everybody reacts when the announcement is dropped and how they treat her versus how they treat the guy that she cheated with. Remember, they're both willing participants. So just watch this here.
His lawyer.
Lawyer, his friend. I don't know who he is.
Abogado's lawyer.
Okay.
You're expecting a child, a boy.
Miren, la prueba de embarazo.
I have
probably the paternity test.
Saben que se olvidaron de un pequeño detalle, mi amor.
Yeah.
Acá tengo las pruebas de que no son 4 meses, sino
not 4 months, 6 months. So she's 6 months along, not 4, like she's saying.
Angie, déjalo que termine de hablar mi hermano, por favor.
Abogado, continuemos. Acá tengo todo lo que es el...
Lawyer, please continue. I own my house. It's in my name, just so we're all clear on that.
El argumento que yo tengo. Acá está la prueba. Suegro, por favor. Un video hablando de los 3 años de engaño que tuve yo.
In case you guys are wondering, here's the proof.
¿De qué está hablando tu esposo? Está aquí.
Here he is, and he's right here. This party isn't for me, it's for them.
Now watch what happens.
Not for me, this party's for them.
He just walks away. She follows him. And everybody's losing their shit on the guy that she banged. So he takes the brunt of that entire situation, and she's
left
sitting
alone.
there. You know, she's left alone. Nobody says anything to her. She's not a whore, nothing like that. She's trying to plead with her husband. But this is the exact stuff that I talk about again in the chapter in my book about the female first primary social order. Men are always treated this way, and women are always treated this way as well. And this is just another example of it, right?
And I guarantee you go to the comments. The first question
good,
is, well, you know, I picked some up. I took a bunch of years in high school. I just kept up with it. But, you know, you go to the comments and I guarantee it's a lot of, well, I wonder what the husband did to make her cheat. I wonder what he did to her. I wonder why he, you know, she ran out on him in the first place. He must have not been treating her well or hitting her or something like that or giving her what he needed. You see how he rubbed her face in the fact that he owned the house. She probably didn't like that.
Look at this.
Oh, the guy he was
guy in the background covering his face while he's still.
How do you not sprint out at that point? Like, get on with it. Bye. Oh man. Oh, X's. Yeah, here you go.
Oh, hang on. Translation. This is my lawyer. We have over here a document. You guys all know that I'm expecting a boy here. Look, I have the pregnancy test. You guys know I'm going to be a dad. but you know what? The guy's overlooking an important detail. Here's a proof that she isn't 4 months pregnant, but in fact, she's 6 months. I just want to clarify the small detail. Here's a document that states that the house is under my name. Exactly the argument here. I guess he was probably away at the time when she got knocked up. That's why she called it 4 months. But bro came with the receipts. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff in the comments here, and it's too much.
It's a lot of restraint. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like, and again, there's no way to know about how long he knew about this, but it's like, I've seen it where it's like, oh yeah, I've known she's been cheating or the baby's not mine. And they waited until they got everybody, they still planned the wedding. They got everybody together for the reception. The guy puts on like a slideshow and it's like a video of her cheating or whatever. It's just like, man, is it worth it? Is it really worth going through all that? Is it, as opposed to just breaking it off? I mean, I guess like embarrassment is one thing, but it's like, man, what? To sit here and still have to deal with her and put on a smiling face every day and pretend like you want to marry her and go through all that is wild. It's like, it just kind of seems like it's a waste of your time, and like you should just cut bait and move on.
So here, I'm going to give you guys the clips over the weekend when I was all sauced up on Dayquil because I was sick as a dog, but I went anyway because my friends are like, "Hey man, there's an airstrip event. You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just got the cartoon." So this is my friend's 750 McLaren, which is the successor to my 720. So it's got slightly more power, better gearing, and he's coming up here against my Turbo S just after I got it tuned. So just watch this. Check this out. There's some music playing in the background, so I'm just going to mute it. But I'll turn it up once we launch. But just watch this thing take off. Yeah. That was a rush, like 166 miles an hour by the end of the half mile. The only cars that were faster that day were the twin turbo Huracans and twin turbo R8s. They were doing like 200 miles an hour.
Well, you got a rally coming up too, don't you?
Got a rally coming up in September. We're going to meet some of the boys from Nashville at day 2. There's going to be 4 of them meeting us down there. So 4 of us are going down. There'll be 4 of the boys from the community meeting us down there. So, it's just some of the stuff that we like to do for fun.
Yeah, I don't want to get behind the wheel of a car with you, man. You're a freaking maniac behind the wheel. I'm good on that.
Yeah, you'll be all
I've
right,
ridden
man.
with you, and I've ridden with you enough times. I'm good. I've ridden the Corvette, and then peeling it out around after the Algonquin trip. So I think I'm good on that.
I want to show you another slide here that I saved, which is her advice to the other ladies, right? And there's these.
Here we go.
There's these groups that will dispense these groups.
I've seen this too.
Malak here says, honestly, the best piece of advice I can give to younger girls trying to figure out life is to completely ignore men. Okay, let's go on. I'm not being quirky or cute when I say that. I mean, seriously, ignore men's judgments of you. Ignore their insincere compliments. Ignore their half-assed romance. Focus on developing yourself. Practice your art. Play sports. Do theater. Volunteer. Spend time with your friends. Do not put substantial effort into pleasing men. They will be there for you to pursue when the time comes if you want to. But nothing will waste your youth more than fighting for male acceptance. Does this not sound a lot like the advice that men get?
Yeah.
Ignore women.
But the difference is
chase excellence.
It works for us.
It works for men. For women, the comment that I put up over here is, this is solid advice for women if you want to be alone as a cat lady.
Yes, this is a perfect example of a woman trying to keep other women, a woman trying to do her best to keep other women signal, which they are very good at.
This is women's worst enemy is other women like this. We saw this on Ladies' Night over and over again, right? Like the bad advice, basically climb the corporate ladder, get your degrees, chase excellence. And then they ended up being on the show like other women who were in their 40s who were like, I was lied to. My mom lied to me. The narrative from society lied to me. I've got the Tesla. I've got the house. I got $200,000 in student debt. I work 2 jobs. All of my friends are married with kids and they're happy. And I'm alone with my cats, basically. Right.
Yeah, I mean, also basically go against your natural biological imperative, which is to date and sleep with and have children with men. So just push all of that and go against your biological narrative and every impulse that you have that you can't explain in your entire subconscious, so you can go volunteer at a soup kitchen and go dance around on a theater stage and play, backyard soccer. Good advice.
Yeah, they'll be there for you. They will be there for you to pursue when the time comes, if you want to. Basically, you've got all the time in the world, girls, is what she's saying.
But see that though, for you to pursue, you're telling him, hey, you're going to waste all your time doing this, and then you're going to be the one pursuing men, which again, not something that women have ever needed to do, and not something that women are good at. They're terrible at pursuing men. I mean, we know that. So it's just, I mean, my goodness, man, this is just an old lady who couldn't get the man she wanted and now is looking back on the past wishing she had done differently, and she's trying to it's a strategy to get her competition out of the way. If you're an older woman who can brainwash younger, better, fitter, hotter women into ignoring men, there goes your competition.
Misery loves company. Did you manage to get through Taraban's book?
Not all the way. I've gone through some of it, but not all the way.
I don't know if you got through the part where he talks about, the advice that or the recommendations that he gives to women, but essentially he's like, look, ladies, you've got maybe 3 or 4 chances at having a family if you're lucky, like if you're
totally
wise to it and you're intentional, like even at the age of 20, because you got to date, you got to see what the guy's made of, and then you have to get through all the other steps that sort of go along the way, and you're going to run into guys that aren't going to be a good fit, so you're going to have to start all over again, and you really don't have a lot of goes at it. So, the idea that you've got all the time in the world and that, but don't put substantial effort into pleasing men, they'll be there for you to pursue when the time comes if you want it. It's just awful advice, because men and women are on totally different timelines, right?
Yeah, I mean, the doctor is correct. It's it's compared to the advice or compared to what women really think they have, it's a very bleak outlook for them. I mean, I know women that are just like, okay, so you're telling me that the men that I want, I have to share, and the men that want me, I don't want. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to. Unless you are a needle in a haystack and you find a guy worth his salt that is going to be faithful to you and he's not going to step out, or that he's going to do all that, then you basically have won the lottery if that's what you've got and that's what you've been able to get with. And I think he's right, like 3 or 4 chances, because I mean, look, like you talk about, even if the average relationship, I don't even know, but if the average relationship is a year, because I mean, how long does it take you to truly vet somebody? Let's say it's a year, maybe 2 years. So it's like you're anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9 to 12 years in across 3 or 4 different relationships. And if you strike out 3 times, 4 times in a row, you're pretty much screwed. So you've got a very small window. And the big thing too is like, women these days are having situationships and they're screwing around in between these big relationships. So they'll have a 3-year, 4-year relationship with a guy in college. Doesn't work out. Well, I'm still young. I'm 22, 23. I'm going to go to my 2-year, 3-year phase, my Sex and the City phase. Then I'll meet a guy in my mid-20s, and 3 or 4 years later, that doesn't work out. Well, I'm still a little young. I'm not 30 yet. And I'll date my guy between late 20s and early 30s. And now it's like, oh, I'm 32, I'm 33. Well, my mom had me at 40, so I've got till then. Yeah, it might as well be over at that point.
Yeah. There's another one that really blew up. Do you remember the tatted up girl talking about the gym guy? This one got 6.8 million views.
Jeez. I mean, it's not 30 million. I mean, I got a 30 million tweet, but that's all right. That's fine.
Yeah, you crushed it with that one. So this gal,
my God,
what girls do after something happens is they get in their car and they make a little video about it. And I've seen girls like this at the gym. Okay, like we've got the girls wearing these little tops, except for I've seen like women at the gym wearing a lot less than this, like half the material that of what we got over here. Now, sorry, Moff.
Where'd you go?
I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to add to stage. There we go. I'm just gonna play this, but you got to be careful with YouTube. So I'm playing this a little later on in the video because she's swearing a lot. I got to get this edited out when I comment on it for my other channel. But just watch this right to the end. You'll see what we're talking about here. The caption I put here is, she'll wear nothing to the gym, then complain about guys looking at her, which is apparently now sexual assault.
So an Ottawa police officer just sexually harassed me at the gym. As one does, of course. He was doing chest flies. I was standing in front of him, and I was respecting him in his fucking space. And
Let me just stop for a sec, because the tattoos really drive me nuts. Red flag chapter, guys. Which one is it? It's red flag number 10, tattoos and piercings. You're never going to get away from the red flags. I've had my red flags tested time and time and time again. You're never going to get away from them. They're always consistent. They're always going to show you red flags. Pay attention to them. They're in my book.
wanted him to be able to see his form, so I kept moving out of the way so that he could see himself in the mirror. And after I did this twice, he stops me and he's like, yeah, it's okay. I may just be a dirty old man. Here it comes. But I almost don't mind if you're standing in front of me while I do this. And I did what we all do as women when we get comments like that. I just went, ha, turned around and I was like, fuck, I hate men. And then I was really pissed and went to turn around to tell him, like, this is not okay. And here is why. And he was gone. I got a Good Life associate, told her, and she wanted to see where it happened so that she could find it on camera, because I was like, fuck, I don't want to come back here with this dude. Like, I'm uncomfortable as shit right now. He was there. I was like, oh, this is him. Confronted him. And then when I told him that was not okay, you made me feel uncomfortable, he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, no, like, this is not cool. It's not okay. Then he tells me, I actually rescind my apology. Anyway, here's the video.
Based.
And I kept moving out of the way. Oh, that's him. Ew. Oh, fuck off. No. I don't give a shit. It's inappropriate. I don't appreciate it. And it made me feel fucking uncomfortable. This is a place where I come to feel fucking safe. I'm Oh, I should be. Yes, I know. And you made me feel unsafe. I don't fucking appreciate that. And for me to have to go, no, it's okay. No, it's not okay. I'm fucking autistic. This is my fucking safe space. I come
She's autistic.
here to fucking lift, and you're fucking disgusting as I'm moving out of the way so you can see yourself in the fucking mirror. Fuck you. Wow, what?
I rescind my apology. You're nuts.
Great ending. Great ending.
Perfect ending.
But like, I mean, you go to the gym wearing literally nothing and you're standing in front of the guy while he's working out, like in front of the mirror. What do you expect? Right?
But I mean, what an innocuous statement, though. Like, yeah, he's flirting with you. Like, my God. I mean, this guy, the only logical conclusion is that this guy is disgusting to look at. Like, he's not in shape. He's not attractive.
If
like,
he was attractive,
if he's good looking,
would have never been made. They would be out on
probably going home with them.
Smashing. Right.
Exactly. She probably would have said, meet me in the sauna in 20.
Right.
I mean, God, like the tattoos and like that's the stuff. I mean, tattoos in general, but especially in areas that are highly, highly visible, the neck, the hands. Like I'm tattooed. I haven't gotten a tattoo in almost a decade. So
but
I don't
okay to be tattooed.
Right.
It's totally
different.
Different.
Thing is, like, I remember when I would talk to the guys in the shop and hand tattoos were like not a thing. Face tattoos 10 years ago, not a thing. Now everyone's fully blasted head to toe. Like the guy that did my work, he was like, dude, I don't touch people's hands or face unless they have a full bodysuit. It's like, I just won't do it. It's like, I won't touch people's hands. I won't touch people's necks or their face or anything like that. And now for somebody to have their neck done and their hand done and probably some other areas before any of this or before probably, I mean, that's just crazy. It's just, oh man. But yeah, the whinging and the whining for internet points. And if she wasn't recording, I have a hunch that if she wasn't recording, she probably wouldn't have acted in the way that she acted. Because she's just crying over spilled milk and crying over internet points. And it's like, the guy apologized. I mean, the guy probably shouldn't have even apologized. He's probably like, oh, I was like, okay, my bad. And then you walk away. Like, that's it. But I tell guys, like, guys ask me all the time, they go, how do you pick up women at the gym? I'm like, dude, just don't bother. I'm like, unless you're okay with being kicked out and never working out there again, don't even bother. Don't do it. Just it's not worth the risk.
Let me just add to that because I've talked to a couple of guys at gyms because they'll recognize me and they'll come up to me and they'll tell me their stories, right? And if you approach a girl and she's not attracted to you and you persist, you're gonna get into trouble. You're gonna get into trouble. If you approach a girl and she's unresponsive. So again, I'm going to go back to my book. There's a chapter on genuine burning desire. Women are either going to be receptive, they're going to be indifferent, or they're going to be a detractor, right? If she's not warm and receptive and smiling and asking questions and, you know, witty banter back and forth, playful, then just cut it off, man. Just don't even persist. Don't try. Because you might get banned from the gym, you might run into problems, you might like any number of things that can happen that just aren't worth it. If you smile at her and she smiles back, approach her, right? If she's looking your way when you're working out, approach her. But if it's not met with enthusiasm, don't even bother. Exactly like
it's a minefield.
Don't even bother.
It's a minefield and it's not worth it. Go meet out girls somewhere else. It's a fucking minefield. Like there's just no reason to do it. And like the consequences, it's like, you know, if you're a dude that works out and if it's close to where you live or close to, you know, your work or whatever that is, like if it's a place that you're going to go every day, you need to make sure you do everything not to get kicked out of there. And like, you know, he's Canadian, so he folded. No disrespect, but it's like, what, did you catch it on camera, him saying something? I bet the camera didn't show anything. And if she came up and she's like, oh, you did this, you did that, he's like, prove it. Like, what is an associate going to do? What is some like little desk girl like, did you say something about how she can work out in front of you? Because it's a video like, camera. You're really torn down. Like, you're like really turned on. I'd have been like, no, I've never seen that woman in my life. And I have no idea what she's talking about. Just pull the plug, man. And there's that banter back and forth. Cause some guys are like, oh, like, if she gives you a no or tells you she has a boyfriend, then, you know, just make a joke or be playful about it. She's just giving you a shit test. It's like, maybe that'll work somewhere else. Don't try that in the gym. Any resistance, pull the ripcord. It's not worth it.
Yeah. You want to grab that super chat real quick before I do the
next? Andy, feminists these days expect men to act like oppressed Muslim women. Don't look up, gaze only at the floor, never look at the opposite sex, and so on. They only expect that from guys that they think are ugly and dorks and losers. Yeah. That's really what it boils down to. I mean,
if she's attracted to you, you can say and do anything you want.
Pretty much, be attractive, don't be unattractive. I mean, that's table stakes. It's funny because sometimes it seems like we've gotten away from that because guys will cope. They're like, oh, like Rich, why do you tell guys to get jacked? Like that doesn't matter. I've seen a fat dude like walk home with like 4 or 5 different girls or whatever it is, and it's like, listen, man, like, you've got to get yourself on the playing field and you've got to be visible to women. And the first step of that is being physically attractive. She can't look into your wallet and see how much money is in it. She can only see if you are fat, out of shape, dorky dressing, sloppy. Like you might be the funniest dude in the world. Cause like, no, you just have to be funny. It's like, you might be the funniest dude in the world, but if she doesn't give you the time of day or doesn't want to be around you, she's never going to find out.
Yeah. Women are not attracted to Louis C.K.'s. They're attracted to comedians like Brad Pitt, right? So I got another one over here. Now, there's a story behind the story, which I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to ask you guys in the comments to tell me what you think it is, and then I'm going to tell you what it is afterwards. But we'll see how tuned in you guys are. So just watch this quick 51 seconds.
If she gave you a guilt-free pass to sleep with anybody, would you take it?
No, sir. You might get one pass, but at the end of the day, you want one wife. And this is the wife I want. So no.
Now, what about you if he gave you one?
If he gave me a guilt-free pass, I would take it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Sorry.
That's crazy.
But who would you take it with?
Lindy Waters III.
Don't even know who that is. That's our problem. Yep.
Who else?
Barry Sanders. I'm in love with him.
Now, what?
He's literally got his arm around her talking about making her his wife. And she's saying that she's in love with this dude over here.
Love with him.
Now, what do you think those men have over your men?
They're professional athletes.
What do you think that they would have...
That's crazy.
And he's just standing there like a fool going, that's crazy, that's crazy.
He's
That's
smiling.
crazy.
He's like smiling through the pain.
Well, he's got nothing else, he's got nowhere else to go. So here's what I'm going to ask you guys in a live chat. What do you think is really going on? Like, what is the story behind the story? Because she named 2 professional athletes like that at the drop of a hammer. Very quickly, there was no thought put into it. She knew exactly who the guys were that she would cheat on this guy with. Now, what do you think's going on? What's the story behind the story? Write it in the live chat. Let me know right now. I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds to like put whatever it is you think is going on behind the scenes, because I can tell you exactly what she's been up to. I will. Hopefully, when you guys are tuned in, you're going to put it in the chat. You got any guesses, Muff?
Well, they seem to be about college aged. My guess is that, yeah, maybe she dated an athlete, or the athlete was the guy that two-timed her or didn't settle down with her, and he's the guy that waited around, and he's kind of been the beta in waiting. So
there it is.
That's what my first thing is.
It's already popped up from a couple people. She DM'd them multiple times, probably DMing some of them already. That's exactly what it is. She's already in touch with these guys, or she's reached out to these guys, or they may have reached out to her. Probably unlikely because she's a nobody, but she's probably slid into their DMs at some point somewhere on social media, trying to extend an olive branch to see what kind of receptiveness she can get out of it. And when he brought up the question, she's like, hands down, this one and this one, done. She's already been talking to these guys, right? Like, gentlemen, you have to pay very close attention to women's use of social media. Not a good sign. Not a good sign.
Man, that's a tough one to watch. Yeah, it's like, my God, man, it's what guys will put up with, and just the blatant disrespect. And now it's going to go on the internet and it's going to live forever, and you're the guy that everybody looks at and thinks is stupid. But it's crazy what women will admit when you put camera in their face and you say, like, you're going to be on TV, you're going to be famous, and it's like all discernment just goes right out the window.
I thought this one over here was funny too, so I saved this one in my links. This guy Shooter McGavin, this says Jenny is on the Mount Rushmore of underrated villains. Gave Forrest the runaround the entire movie. Keeps little Forrest away from him until she finds out he's rich and wanted that Apple money. Puts Forrest in the friend zone when he's poor. Gets rich. Let's get married. Now, I don't know that she's a supervillain, but this is like legit your average woman today. That's all I had to say about that one. It's not like my dudes, my men out there. You have to get good at vetting women, red flags, watching behavior, looking for conflicts between what they say and what they do. Understand these things. I got a few others, but nothing huge. There's one other one that actually popped up for hobbies that are supposed to be attractive. Now I see there's community notes added to this now, but this went wild over the last week.
Yeah.
Least attractive hobbies for men according to women: playing video games, collecting figurines, magic tricks, online trolling, gambling, building model trains, taxidermy, comic book collection, and bird watching. And this got thrown all over social media. And then there's a community note here now. It says there's no source provided for the reported finding, and the percentages are rounded evenly to the nearest multiple of 5, which is implausible. The origin of this image is from a TikToker making a joke post about them being bird watchers. So,
but if you just read the quotes, just read the quote tweets, you'll just see that every woman is agreeing with this. I mean, what's the one you just bookmarked? What does it say? Yeah.
Let's go down and see what women say here. Liz Wheeler, where are the women commenting? Here you go. Dana, I love playing games, waiting for the new Space Marines, fired up on Call of Duty Cold War Zombies the other day for nostalgia. Nothing wrong with games or any hobby in healthy dosages. Natalie, video games are cool. Yeah, but these are usually like OnlyFans checks.
Well, what's the original tweet? Like, scroll up to the top. What's that say? What's this woman saying? This woman, Liz.
Liz Wheeler, 100% true. Men playing video games is peak unattractive beyond a red flag, like a deal breaker zone. It's weird that so many dudes don't get this. I mean, do women like you sitting around doing nothing with your time playing video games? No. If you're a competitive video gamer and making millions of dollars, they'd be happy letting you do that, of course. So it's all on how is it being used sort of thing. But if you're like the vast majority of guys out there that are consumers, of electronic entertainment, video games, or even watching other guys playing video games, which is something I don't understand watching other men play sports. I don't understand watching other men play video games even less. That makes even less sense to me. But there's a large contingent of guys out there as stream consumers that will watch Minecrafts, whatever video games are being played by other guys. So it's like, I get it. I think the vast majority of women that look like a Liz Wheeler, whoever she is, I mean, she's okay. Ugh. Those eyes are a little far apart, but host of the Liz Wheeler show. But yeah, you get the point, right? Like,
well,
have some more
video games. Video games allow every man to live out whatever childhood fantasy that he wants to be when he was growing up, whether that's professional athlete, whether that's a knight in shining armor, whether that's whatever it might be, a GTA character, a gun runner, drug smuggler. And you have infinite lives, and if you fail, you can just reboot the game and nothing changes, and you're none the wiser. But yeah, I mean, Andrew Tate said it best, where he's like, why don't you just go out and live the real Grand Theft Auto? Why don't you go out and level up yourself, which is your character? But it's a lot easier just to spend $60 and fire up a console, and then all of a sudden you get to be this great thing. And yeah, I mean, you see this stuff. Streamers, like, that's a job now, streaming. I don't even know these guys. I don't even know what a streamer is. Are they playing games? Are they literally just talking to people on chat? They just hit the go live button and they just talk. Like, I really don't even know.
Combination of those things. Like, you get like like those guys that don't really play the games anymore. They just sort of stream and talk, like the Sneakers of the world or the Zerkers or whatever. And then you have the other guys that just play the video games. I'm fine with a game that challenges the mind, that forces you to solve a problem. I've always said, the most important skill you got to develop as a guy, especially if you want to become an entrepreneur, is problem solving skills. So something that is useful and challenging in some sense to regard. That's why I like playing the game of chess, right? Or any kind of like player versus player where you're playing an actual individual on a playing field that's like chess, 4D chess. Really. But in dosages, that's it. Don't do it all the fucking time. It's wasting your time and resources, man. Like, are you a millionaire yet? No, go fucking focus on that.
Yeah. And I even think, we talk about sports a lot, and it's like, I think if it's an entertainment factor, fine. I mean, there was something the other day with, this guy, John, like, hold on, where'd it go? The chat's going fast. I watch UFC. So, like, yeah, I don't mind watching fighters too, man. I mean, like, I'd like to, but I pick up things and I learn. It's like, yeah, I want to see what these guys are doing. I want to see how these guys are operating. Like, if I'm going to be getting into a fighter I train, or I want to get into the cage in a year, then I'm going to be, watching what people are doing and be picking up on things and be taking notes. But I'm not going to be throwing on a jersey and painting my face. And, that's kind of what a lot of these guys are doing. They're tying their identity to a sports team and to other people's accomplishments that will never know their name or know they exist. And it's like, what do you have, man? Where are your accomplishments? Where's your body of work? Where's your legacy? So, yeah, it's why, and I was guilty of this for a long time, and I don't do it anymore. The whole fantasy sports thing, and now you take it in. If you're a gambler, maybe, and you're a sports bettor, you're a sports gambler, maybe that's one thing as well. If you're finding out a way to make money, or you're gonna, profit off of it, make it a business, and you have to know who's this and who's that, then that's fine. That's one thing. But, I can't think of. There's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wasted hours by hundreds of thousands of men over the next 4 or 5 months sitting in front of TV screens watching NFL football. And that's, it is what it is.
Even the stuff with UFC, like, it's fine to watch a fight, but I'll tell you something. Go out there and train in some discipline, or
get in there and do it.
Discipline, and get out there and have your own fight. Like, Moff made the statement earlier this year. He said, look, I've been training. I'm going to get in the ring and I'm going to have a fight now. I don't know if you set the date yet, but you'd
be summer of next year, most likely. Yeah, summer of
next year. So he's got a good year, 11 months of training to go, and then test yourself. Put yourself, like, when you put your jaw against the line against another big man that can hit you and hurt you. There's no greater rush in the world. Like, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I did one fight and it was like, there's no greater rush in the world. It's a young man's sport. You don't want to be doing that shit like well into your fucking 50s. That's just stupid.
Right.
That's asking for trouble. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if you're a young guy and you like fighting, good. Watch the fights, but go and join a dojo and learn how to fight yourself. Again, it's something else I talk about in my book. It's a rite of passage for men. So anyway, you got anything else, man? Or do you want to start wrapping up?
No, we can start to wrap. I'm good on my end.
All right, so a couple of things going on this week. I've got Unplugged Alpha 142, which I had to skip last week because I was sick as hell, man. I was just feverish last Wednesday, so I just created the event that morning, but put it off to this Wednesday. So I'll do it this Wednesday. I got a bunch of notes from this super yacht trip in Croatia with the entrepreneurs, so I want to share some insights on entrepreneurship. I've also had a bunch of people asking me about the School of Entrepreneurship, so I'm going to open that for enrollment on Teachable as I'm talking about it on Wednesday. You can also get the School of Entrepreneurship by joining the school, which is in the description. It unlocks after 10 months of membership, so it's kind of like a monthly payment plan for that. I've also got a plane to win on the 29th at 9 a.m. with Dr. Anthony J, and we're going to be talking about mostly cholesterols. I'm going to have Dr. J and the practitioner from my clinic that looks after my labs on at the same time, George. If you guys are at the 1% forum, you would have met him, so you know who I'm talking about. He's well-versed on shit. And we'll probably spend about an hour diving down the rabbit hole of like blood labs, but more specifically cholesterols, HDLs, LDLs, ApoBs, pharmacological like interventions like Repatha, which is something that we've been tested on my blood labs. So it should be an interesting conversation. It's something that I'm personally interested in. So I figured rather than just do it behind the scenes, I'll open up my labs and I'll show you guys what's going on and have a couple of professionals explain what's going on so you guys get some insight on it. So I hope you guys tune in for that live 9 a.m. on the 29th. You got anything going on this week, man?
Yeah, this week, Office Hours is back on Thursday, same time, same place right here on the Unplugged Alpha channel. I'm going to be talking mostly about, the Grand Canyon hike a little more in depth and some of my takeaways and just giving guys more background on the trip and kind of what went into the decision and what I'm seeing with a lot of guys about, calling your shot and then getting ready for it as opposed to getting ready for it and then calling your shot. So, yeah, we talked about the communities just to give you guys kind of an update on what's happening. We're always doing stuff. I'm always looking to plan the next trip and next meetup. It's always coming. So every day that you're waiting and you're not pulling the trigger on getting involved, it's passing you by, man. I mean, we just got done with the Canyon hike. We were in San Diego last month. We'll be in Vegas next month, September. Right after that, we'll be in Nashville for the Tough Mudder event. We got like 23, 24 guys coming. It's going to be awesome. We'll take a break for a couple months for the holidays. We've got a general's trip coming up, which I won't talk too much about just yet, but that's looking to be January or so. We're back in Colorado and Breckenridge for a ski trip in February, and then I'm looking to do another trip down here in Florida in middle of March with some guys we've worked with in the past. So, and then, we're right on to the next thing in a couple months later. So there's always stuff happening, man. And, you could be here hanging out with us doing cool stuff, or you could be on your couch watching us do it. Choice is yours.
There's two ways to get in. There's the school below, which has all the lessons that you want. You can get that in the description. There's two schools. There's one that's almost free. It's basically $2 a month. You can sort of kick the tires and see what's all in there. But the paid one, $129 a month. Price will be going up. The paid one has like 35 hours worth of lectures. There are some invites that are going to be extended to the members of the school community for meetups, but all of the meetups are extended first to 1%, 10% groups. And, like if you're talking about Vegas, for example, I'll be there. You guys are going to want to participate in those groups. And you can find those on my website. Just go to richcooper.ca and you can learn about how to join all those over there. I'm going to throw out the podcast intro and we'll call it a night, man. You guys have a good one. Peace out. All right, guys. If you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top pinned comment on YouTube for all the links